Honorable Minister of Justice of Namibia, Excellencies, representatives of Progressive International. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the organizers of this event, which indeed marks a major step by states from the Global South to work collectively towards justice for the people of Palestine and for a more just and equitable world defined by the rule of just law. South Africa fully supports the declaration read out earlier. I would like to make some remarks on a few points that are pertinent to the issues covered by the declaration. On the 29th of December 2023, South Africa brought an application pursuant to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide against the State of Israel for the brutal assault on Palestinians in Gaza. The attacks at the time of the application had already created what many observers were characterizing as a crisis of humanity and a living hell for Gaza's 2.3 million inhabitants, and had shocked the conscience of most in the world. South Africa sought to end the situation of unprecedented horror in Gaza by referring the situation to the ICJ, who is the ultimate guarantor of the Genocide Convention. We asked the court to order provisional measures to compel Israel to end its genocidal acts in Palestine. The ICJ made such orders, but Israel refused to abide by them. States supporting Israel sought to undermine the authority of the ICJ instead of enacting their third state party responsibilities to ensure that Israel meets its legal obligations. On the 19th of July 2024, the ICJ delivered a historic advisory opinion on the legal consequences arising from the policies and practice of Israel in the occupied Palestine territory, including East Jerusalem, declaring that Israel's 57-year control over the Palestine territories is unlawful. The ICJ's decision reveals a pattern of oppression which includes breaches of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, which condemns and prohibits apartheid, the unlawful annexation of land, the denial of Palestine's right to self-determination, and flagrant violations of sovereignty over natural resources. This, accompanied by systematic violations of international humanitarian law, is typical of settler colonial forms of oppression. The ICJ's opinion gives further credence to what Palestine has been saying for decades and what non-governmental organizations, including Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and the Israeli NGO Ben Telem have said more recently, that Israel, ladies and gentlemen, is indeed an apartheid state. Despite the ICJ's advisory opinion and its provisional measures order, Israel continues to sow destruction in Palestine as it seeks to further depopulate Palestinian territories through force and unlawful occupation and its genocidal actions in Palestine. On the 18th of September 2024, UNGA voted overwhelmingly to endorse the ICJ's advisory opinion. This resolution therefore put in place countermeasures for Israel's breaches of international law. The resolution further welcomed the advisory opinion, which ruled that all states have an obligation not to recognize as legal the situation arising from the unlawful presence of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, and not to render aid or assistance in maintaining the situation created by Israel's illegal presence in the occupied Palestine territory. In the debate preceding the vote, member states argued that it was the collective responsibility of member states of the UN to hold each other accountable and to ensure that legal decisions of its apex court and the resolutions of the UN are both respected and implemented. Despite this, countries, most notably those that were at some stage settler colonial regimes themselves, and have committed some of the international crimes that Israel is committing today, including the crime of genocide, continue to support Israel's unlawful presence and actions in Palestine. In contrast to this, today, this group of developing countries have gathered to agree on a program of action to defend the institutions of global governance, including the ICC and the ICJ, from egregious attacks due to these institutions having dared to hold Israel accountable. It is the proverbial international law subalterns that is the people and countries that many in the West believe that international law and its course were established to control, that are at the forefront of building an international legal order that is just and fair. We wish to highlight that the international community cannot proclaim the importance of international law, including that of the UN Charter, if it is only applicable in some situations and not in others. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, as the international community, we should reject attempts to manipulate international law to pursue accountability for some, but to evade accountability for others. This is unacceptable, and we should not be complicit in Israel's endeavors to irreparably harm the institutions that we established to build a more peaceful and just world. South Africa will continue to champion within the institutions of global governance the protection and the fundamental right of Palestinians in Gaza. Notably, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue to do everything within our power to preserve the Palestinians the right of existence as a group and as a people. We ask all states to walk this journey, freedom for the Palestinian people with us, and we remind, ladies and gentlemen, this August inauguration of the Hague Group, that Nelson Mandela momentously declared that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinian people. Thank you very much.